Okay, so let's talk about that feeling. You know the one. You're listening to English, maybe watching movies, no subtitles needed, understanding podcasts. Hopefully this one's coming through clear. But then you need to actually speak, and it's like your brain just stalls. That whole, I understand it fine, but I just can't speak it thing. If that sounds familiar, if that's, a frustration you felt, you're definitely in the right place today.
Yeah, it's incredibly common. That sense of having soaked up so much English, but then finding it really hard to, use it yourself. It can be so frustrating when you feel like, okay, the knowledge is in there, but you just can't seem to pull it out when you need to talk.
Exactly.
But, and this is important, if you're feeling this, it's not like some personal failure. Okay, it's actually a really, really normal part of the language learning journey.
Okay, good to know. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today, right? Why does this happen, this listening-speaking gap? What's going on? And more importantly, what can people actually do about it? Find some real strategies to start speaking more confidently.
Let's do it. So, first things first, we need to really get our heads around this gap. Understanding and speaking, they feel related, but they are fundamentally different skills. It sounds maybe a bit obvious, but the implications are actually pretty big for learners.
Yeah, I think the analogies really help here. Like, think about knowing how a car engine works.
Okay.
You could read the manual, look at diagrams, totally understand the theory, right?
Sure.
But does that mean you can just hop in and drive smoothly?
No, not at all. Driving is completely different.
Exactly. It needs practice, coordination, maybe even a bit of, nerve. It's a different skill set entirely.
That's a great way to put it. Understanding is often more, let's say, receptive. Passive almost.
Yeah.
Your brain gets really good at spotting patterns using context clues, filling in the blanks. So when you hear something like, I went to the store yesterday, your brain just kind of processes it. Past tense, place, time. Boom. Done.
Yeah.
It's pattern recognition.
But then, when it's your turn to say that exact same thing, I went to the store yesterday, suddenly it's like all these alarms start ringing.
Yeah.
You're thinking, wait, is it went? Or should I use gone? Oh, God, how do I say yesterday? Does it sound weird? That hesitation, that little freeze.
Yeah.
That's the active production part trying to kick in. You're not just recognizing anymore. You're actually building it from scratch.
And that's the key difference, really. Speaking is active. It needs more than just knowing the words and the rules.
Yeah.
It's like muscle memory, but for your mouth and brain working together.
Right. Coordinating everything, your tongue, your lips, the sounds.
Exactly. Producing the sounds, the rhythm of English.
Yeah.
It needs to become more automatic. And that only comes with, practice and repetition.
The other one I was thinking of is like learning a dance from a video.
Oh, yeah.
You can watch it over and over, understand every single step, the timing, everything. Intellectually, you've got it. But then the music starts and you try to actually do it.
A whole different ball game.
Totally. Your brain knows, but your body hasn't learned the moves yet. It hasn't got that physical memory down.
Precisely. And that gap, between knowing about something and actually doing it, that's totally normal in language learning. It's not a sign you're bad at it. It's just how it works.
Okay, so the gap is real. It's normal. Got it. But there's often something else going on too, isn't there? Something that makes it feel even harder to cross that bridge from understanding to speaking.
Yes. Fear.
Ah, the big one.
Absolutely. This is a really crucial piece for people to think about.
Yeah.
Why do so many learners, even ones who, actually know a lot of English grammar, lots of words, why do they still hesitate? Why do they avoid speaking? So often, the root cause is fear. Fear of being judged by others, fear of sounding, wrong, fear of making mistakes. These are really powerful feelings. They can be huge roadblocks.
Oh, totally. Nobody likes feeling silly or, embarrassed, especially when you're trying to communicate something.
Right.
Speaking makes you vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there. And the idea that someone might correct you, or worse, just not understand you, that's genuinely scary for anyone.
It really is. That vulnerability is real. But here's the interesting, maybe slightly frustrating part.
Okay.
The best way, actually the only way to get over that fear and to actually improve your speaking is to do the thing you're afraid of.
Which is speaking.
Which is speaking. It sounds like a paradox, I know.
Yeah.
But you just can't become a confident speaker if you stay silent.
It really is like learning to ride a bike, isn't it?
How so?
Well, you're going to wobble at first. You might even fall off a couple of times.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't expect to learn just by looking at the bike or reading about how bikes work. You have to actually get on it and start pedaling and accept that stumbling is just part of it.
That's a perfect comparison. And think back, way back, to how you learned your first language as a little kid.
Right.
Were you worried about perfect grammar when you first started talking? Did you refuse to say anything until you knew all the rules?
Definitely not. It was all just listening, trying to copy sounds, probably saying things completely wrong half the time. But you just kind of figured it out through trial and error. No grammar books at age 2.
And that's such a vital point to remember now, that natural way of learning. Listen, try, mess up, learn from it. It still works, even for adults learning another language.
Yeah.
Sometimes as adults, we overthink it. We let that fear of not being perfect stop us from even trying.
Okay, so we get the gap is normal, fear makes it worse. So how do we actually build that bridge? We hear loads about input, listening, reading, watching stuff. We're probably all doing a fair bit of that.
Essential stuff.
But what about the other side? The output.
Exactly. Input is crucial, no doubt. Builds your understanding, your vocab, your feel for the grammar, but it's only half the picture. The other vital half is output. Actually using the language, speaking, writing, taking what you've absorbed and putting it out there.
And it feels like a lot of us maybe lean too heavily on the input side. Like we think if we just listen enough or read enough, speaking will just sort of happen magically.
That's a really common thought, yeah. You might feel that way too. But while tons of input makes you great at understanding, if you don't actively practice producing the language, especially speaking, you're not really training your brain and, your mouth muscles to actually do it. It's like having all the ingredients in the recipe for a cake, but never actually baking it.
Right, okay. So what's the solution then? How do we start getting more output, more speaking practice into our lives without it feeling like this huge, scary task?
Well, it doesn't have to be like a strict 50-50 split or anything. The perfect balance is different for everyone. Depends on your goals, how you like to learn.
Sure.
But the main thing is to consciously, deliberately make time for speaking practice. And honestly, it can start really small.
Like how small? Give us something super practical, low stakes that someone could try, like today.
Okay. Think about that English TV show you like watching.
Okay, go on.
Next time you finish an episode, just talk about it out loud for maybe 30 seconds. That's it.
30 seconds? That sounds doable. What would I even say?
Super simple stuff. Like, okay, I just watched Show Name. This episode was about quick plot point. Thought the actor playing character was really good. The ending was kind of funny, surprising, sad. Something like that.
Okay. Just basic observations.
Exactly. The goal isn't like a deep analysis. It's just getting your mouth moving, getting your brain to pull out those English words and stick them together in real time.
I like that. It feels manageable. So it's not about sounding like a native speaker straight away.
Not at all.
It's more about just getting comfortable with the physical act of speaking English, the rhythm, how the words feel.
You got it. You're starting to get your brain used to the sound and flow of spoken English, and you're starting to train your mouth to actually say the words you already know. It's building that bridge brick by brick. Or maybe word by word.
All right, message received.
Yeah.
Want to speak better, gotta speak more. Makes total sense. So let's dig into some more specific strategies. What are some actual tools or maybe habits people can weave into their daily lives to really start unlocking that fluency?
Okay, yeah, there are definitely some effective things you can start doing pretty much right away. The first one might sound a bit odd, but trust me, it works for a lot of people.
Hey.
Just talk to yourself in English.
Talk to myself. I mean, I do that when I lose my keys, but how does that help with English?
Well, the beauty of it is it's totally pressure-free. right? No audience, no judgment.
True.
So try narrating your everyday stuff, like when you're making tea. Say it out loud. Okay, gonna fill the kettle. Water's boiling now. Hear that. Okay, pour in the water. Careful, grab a tea bag. Maybe a splash of milk today. It seems almost too simple, but you're practicing fluency constantly in a super low-stakes way, using real-life words.
I can see that. Using everyday vocab, no self-consciousness. Okay, what else?
Another really powerful technique is called shadowing.
Shadowing. Okay, sounds mysterious. What is it?
So imagine you're listening to English, could be a podcast clip, a movie line, even like a TikTok video. Shadowing is when you listen to a short bit, a sentence or phrase, and then immediately repeat it out loud. But you try to copy everything.
Everything. Like the accent, too.
Yeah, the pronunciation, the intonation, the sort of music of the sentence, even the speed. You're basically being their echo.
Ah, okay. So not just the words, but how they say them.
Exactly. You're training your ear for those little details, and you're training your mouth to make the sounds more accurately. Really good for pronunciation, getting that natural rhythm.
Okay, shadowing. Got it. What's next on the list?
This next one might feel a bit weird at first, maybe uncomfortable, but it's incredibly useful.
Oh, dear. What is it?
Recording yourself speaking English.
Oh, no. Listening back to my own voice. I think most people hate that.
Yeah, it's a common reaction.
Yeah.
But try to push past that cringe factor just for a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Use your phone. Just record yourself talking for a minute or two
Yeah.
about your day, weekend plans, whatever. Simple stuff. Then listen back.
Embrace myself.
Maybe a little. But you'll probably notice things you don't catch otherwise.
Yeah.
Like maybe a sound you always get slightly wrong without realizing. Or maybe points where you hesitate a lot. It's honestly a great way to spot your own patterns, find areas to work on, and also importantly, track your progress over time. You will get better.
That actually makes a lot of sense, even if it sounds slightly painful.
Yeah.
Okay, what about, actually talking to other people? Isn't that the end goal for most folks?
Absolutely. And a really good way to get that practice, again, in a fairly low pressure way, is language exchange.
Ah, like finding a language partner.
Exactly. There are tons of websites, apps, maybe even local groups. You find someone who wants to learn your native language, and they help you practice English. It's a trade.
So it's not like a formal class, more like chatting with someone who gets it. Because they're learning too.
Precisely. It's about communication practice, getting comfortable just using English in conversation without that feeling of being graded or judged.
Nice. Okay, one last thing then. How do we make all this stick? Turn these cool techniques into actual habits that lead to real progress.
Yeah, good question. This is where setting small, achievable goals is key.
Okay.
Instead of some huge goal like be totally fluent, which is kind of vague and maybe intimidating.
Right.
Set tiny goals like talk to myself in English for 2 minutes every day this week, or do 1 5-minute shadowing exercise 3 times this week.
Ah, breaking it down.
Exactly. Small, consistent steps. They build momentum. They make it feel doable. And over time, those little bits of practice really add up.
I like that. Bite-sized pieces. Definitely feels less daunting than trying to become magically fluent overnight.
That's the idea. Build confidence slowly, steadily, through regular practice with these kinds of tools.
So there we have it then. That feeling, I understand but can't speak, it's normal. It comes from understanding being kind of passive and speaking being very active. And yeah, fear definitely throws a wrench in the works sometimes.
It really can.
But the good news is you can bridge that gap by actually, practicing speaking consistently.
And please, really remember this. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's a process. Don't get discouraged if it feels hard at first.
Yeah.
Every single time you try to speak, even if it's just those 30 seconds about a TV show, you are making progress. You really are.
Definitely. So on that note, here's something to think about as we wrap up. Of all those techniques we talked about, talking to yourself, shadowing, recording, language exchange, setting small goals, which one sounds maybe the easiest for you to try? Like something you could actually fit into your life right now? And maybe think about why that one feels doable. Give it some thought and maybe just give it a shot today. See what happens. You might just surprise yourself with how quickly you start feeling a bit more confident.